So everybody has the mother, the booklet or the soft copy, sir? I don't know, okay. So since the chapter that has been chosen is the chapter 6, which speaks on the 4 personalities, the 4 aspects of the mother. So that is the chapter that was chosen by Pramini ma'am that we should read together. I'll make an attempt, and it's a feeble attempt, because to read Sri Aurobindo is tough, to explain is absolutely impossible. So it's an impossible task that I've been given, and we will make an attempt. Number 2, the chapter is very long. I don't know whether we can read the full chapter all at once. So to make it shorter or easier, इसमें पता नहीं क्या होता रहता है. Can somebody come here, please? Okay, it's done. So just to make it a little shorter, what I thought was that the first paragraph we'll read. The next few paragraphs I'll just give you the essence till we reach Maheshwari, the goddess of wisdom. And we'll see till where we can reach today, because we don't want to burden you with too much. I'm not going to call it information because this is not information. But we don't want to burden you with too much knowledge either. So we'll see where the mother takes us, we'll go. Right? So you all have it. Before you open your book to chapter 6, I'd like to give you a little background to understand Shakti, to understand the mother. Right? And my story starts from the time when there was no time and there was no space. No time and there was no space. Because time and space also came out of him who is also her. So before time and space came out of him, we are talking of that eternal time. And in that eternal time, there was only God, like a presence. You've heard that song, na? जब कहीं पे भी कुछ नहीं था, वही था. So he was like a presence. There was no universe, there were no worlds, there was no solar system, there were no galaxies, there was nothing but him. And that slide, and that has been seen by our Vedic rishis. They have seen that time, that when there was no time. And they have written in the 10th mandala, the 129th verse, death was not then. Ma'am, slide. Yeah. Death was not then, nor immortality. Death was not then, nor immortality. There was no knowledge of day, nor of night. That was one, and lived without the breath by its own fixity. There was nothing else beyond it. This is what our Vedic rishis have seen, they have heard. And he did not come out from anywhere. He was Swayambhu. He is Swayambhu. He is self-born. You can call him self-existent. One who manifests by oneself. One who has always been there without any external cause or creator. Right? Slide. Till we need to be born from somewhere, we are still dependent on some person, on someone from whom we will be born. But he was Swayambhu. He did not need to be born from anywhere because he was always there. And in all religions, he is called the unborn. Whether it is Islam or Christianity or Hinduism, he is called the unborn. He was always there. Now this God we'll talk about for a few minutes before we turn to chapter 6. This God has both personalities, of Ishwar and Shakti, of him and her. They are one, but they seem like two. And our Vedic rishis have seen them as two who are one. And the beauty is that the Vedic rishis have seen them as two who are one, and that makes it easier for us to understand him. Right? If this was not explained, we would not understand what is Shakti and what is Ishvara. Who is Shakti, who is Ishvara? But this has been explained by the Vedic rishis who actually saw him and her and both as one. We'll go into it a little further. So our Vedic rishis called Shakti Chit Shakti. Sri Aurobindo also calls her Chit Shakti. Why? Because she is both conscious, Chit, and she is force, Shakti. She is consciousness and she is force. So she is called Chit Shakti. And slide. And this I will explain to you, the Chit Shakti and him, by a story. So when Shivji used to give Gyan Sabha, how many of you heard of the Gyan Sabha that Shivji used to give? Kanika ma'am has heard, nobody else has. So Shivji used to sit and the Sapt Rishis used to come and they used to have a dialogue. They would ask questions and Shivji would explain, and that's the way the Gyan Sabha would go on. And one day, and nothing happens by chance. So one day in the Gyan Sabha, Parvati ji also came and sat next to the left of Shivji. That day, one of the rishis said to Shivji that, Shivji, you know what? I have always believed in your eternity and your infinity, that you are eternal space and you're infinite space and time. But I have a problem within me and I have to be candid about it. I can't see, I don't feel the same faith for Mata Parvati, for Shakti. So Shivji said, that's not a problem, that's a question that Parvati ji should answer. So he asked Parvati ji, ki please answer the Saptrishi, the rishi who's questioned. And Parvati ji said, there's no problem if you don't believe in Shakti. I'll just take myself out of you. Because you don't believe in my presence, then I'll take myself out of you. And the minute she said that, what remained was the matter, which was five elements. All of it came down like ash, but she let his soul be there. And he realized immediately. He said, I understand, Ma. I understand that Shakti is needed, because without Shakti I cannot exist, I cannot become, I become again ash. So he said, I understand, Ma. Please come back into me. So if anybody has any questions at this point, because this story was important to understand the him and the her. Right? Is everybody clear? Not very tough? Right? So the rishi asked for forgiveness and he was restored. Now if you look at your own self, you have a body which is made up of 5 elements. And these elements are made up of, what are the 5 elements? They are the substance of God. But your body also has within it energy. There's a force. You can think, you can feel emotions, your body can move. So when you tell yourself, I want to dance, what makes you dance? That Shakti within you makes you dance. You think, but that Shakti makes you think. So all the movement that happens within you is because of the presence of Shakti within you, right? So even within you, him and her are equally present because they are one, right? Without him, Shakti exists not. Without her, he cannot create. Is this clear? We can repeat it again. Without him, Shakti will not exist because she needs him to exist in him. And without her, He cannot manifest. Shakti is his own original creatrix force. And our rishis and sages, in their deepest meditations, experience these two poises of God. These are called two poises of God, you can say, who are clearly one. The mother or Shakti is the creatrix force of Ishvara. Clear? Now our story begins. Our story starts from the time when there was no time, when there was no space, and there was the Supreme Divine, Him and her. We can just show the next slide. The Supreme Divine and the Divine Mother. Now, because we're going to come across these terms in the Mother, so next slide, please. The Divine expresses itself in three poises at the same time: individual, cosmic, transcendent. Now, all this is metaphysical, so it will be a little heavy, maybe a little difficult, but it's important for teachers to understand, right? Three dimensions of existence of the divine that are distinct, yet they are inseparable. Why are they inseparable? Because they are simultaneous. At the same time, God is individual, God is cosmic, and God is transcendent. Let us understand all the three one at a time. Next slide. Now, what is the individual? The individual is the divine within each one of us. The psychic flame, the soul. We are all the time now in Jaipuria school. The soul, the flame within each one of us is the individual poise of God, right? And this individual poise is like a flame of aspiration, which is always aspiring upwards. For what is it aspiring for? This individual flame is always aspiring for union with the divine. Now, the journey of this individual, thank you. The journey of the individual divine, the soul moves from self-awareness. First, the soul has to become aware of itself. Then it has to learn to surrender. And then finally, it moves on the journey of transformation of the body. The soul helps in that, into a divine personality. So this is the individual poise of the divine. We talked about three poises. Can anybody tell me which were the three poises? Individual, cosmic, and transcendental. So we've talked about the individual. Is everybody clear? Now let us understand the cosmic. Next slide, please. The cosmic. What is the cosmic? The vast universal consciousness. The divine is not just individualized here. He is everywhere in the entire universe. This solar system, the expanding galaxies, beyond, everywhere. That universal divine is also called the cosmic divine. And he is simultaneously in the cosmos and he is simultaneously in the individual, right? And when one comes to the cosmic consciousness, one transcends one's ego and he perceives the play of forces. God, oh, that is a play of God. That is a play of God. One sees it, I'm not doing anything. Whatever is happening is all a play of God, right? That cosmic consciousness one attempts, one aspires to live in, because the divine is in the entire cosmos. Next slide. Then there is a third poise of the divine, and that is the transcendent. Now, what is the transcendent? The divine is in the individual, divine is in the cosmos, but he is not limited to this, because this is all in time and space. The time and space have come out of him. So he is in individual, he is in the cosmos, but he is beyond them. So this third poise is called the transcendent poise. Because we'll come across these words in the mother, and it is important to understand these terms before we enter into the mother. So the divine beyond all manifestation, the source, the ultimate reality, eternal and unchanging, that is the transcendent. And that transcendent encompasses the individual and the cosmic. And what is the interrelation between these three poises? These three are not separate, they are interwoven. It's like when you put a piece of cloth inside water, where is the water? The water is outside the cloth, and the water is inside the very warp and weft of the cloth, the water has gone in. So the water is everywhere, right? In the fiber itself, yes, it has entered into the fiber itself. So that is the way the divine is. And yet, despite his being everywhere, because many people understand his omnipresence, but they don't understand his individuality. It is very important to understand that he is within me, Purnamada Purnamidam. He is Purna within me. He is Purna in the cosmos, and he is Purna in the transcendent poise. Right? Next slide. Now we come to the mother, the 6th chapter. The first paragraph, we will read the original. After that, for the next few paragraphs, I'll just give you the essence because the chapter is really long. And we'll see where we can reach, right? The four, has everybody opened it? आपको चाहिए किताब? यहाँ है, ये दे दीजिए प्लीज मैम को. The four powers of the mother are four of her outstanding personalities, portions and embodiments of her divinity, through whom she acts on her creatures, orders and harmonizes her creations in the worlds, and directs the working out of 1,000 forces. What is Sri Aurobindo saying? He's saying that the mother is one, yet she appears to us in many forms. And among her countless powers and emanations, there are four radiant personalities which stand out, right? And through these four personalities, she shapes her creation. Like a mold, she shaped her creation. And through these four personalities, she brings harmony between the worlds and guides the play of her infinite forces. Then Sri Aurobindo says, for the mother is one, but she comes before us with differing aspects. Many are her powers and personalities, many her emanations and vibhutis that do her work in the universe. See, the Divine Mother doesn't do them all directly. Mahashakti doesn't do them directly. She has taken out four emanations from her. We'll talk about what are emanations. And these four emanations are her four personalities. Maheshwari for wisdom, Mahakali for strength, Mahalakshmi for harmony, and Mahasaraswati for perfection. So she is one. This ways expresses herself through countless emanations and vibhutis who carry out her work in the universe. Now, what are emanations? We have to understand that word emanations. Emanations are different forms or powers of the divine, like Maheshwari, goddess of knowledge, wisdom, vastness, Mahakali, goddess of strength, goddess of protection, destruction of evil, Mahalakshmi, goddess of harmony, beauty, abundance, Mahasaraswati, goddess of perfection, skill, creativity. Agni is also an emanation. Agni is a god. And that god, so many rishis have written so many verses on Agni, so many verses, so many mandalas after mandalas in the Rig Veda are addressed to the god Agni. That god Agni is within us, that spark within us. So emanations are like different rays of the same sun, right? Now, what are vibhutis? Does anybody here know what are vibhutis? Vibhutis are great beings, instruments of the divine, like Swami Vivekanand, like Mirabai, great saints. We can't call Sri Ramakrishna Paramhans a Vibhuti, he was an avatar. Sri Aurobindo has said very clearly that Sri Ramakrishna Paramhans was an avatar, but Swami Vivekanand was a Vibhuti. Great personalities who have brought about a change in the world scenario, in the world evolution. Even great scientists. I don't know, I mean, I've not heard Sri Aurobindo Kirit uncle say that, but I felt like scientists like Homi Baba, they have brought about huge changes. So I don't know whether he's a Vibhuti or no, but what Vibhutis do is they bring about light, beauty, strength, perfection into the progress of the world, right? So avatars are different from Vibhutis. Now, from the second para on, we will just understand the essence because otherwise we won't reach Maheshwari. So the second paragraph, basically what Sri Aurobindo is saying is God's perfection is like a magnet and eternally draws the imperfect soul towards him. Though we are distracted by life's play, we are all distracted. We have so much work around us that it's distracting. But the soul slowly awakens to the pull, the magnet of the divine. And then it pulls the outer being slowly and gradually towards aspiration for the divine union. Right? The third paragraph says there are three ways of being of the mother. So we'll just understand the essence of the third para. This is not the way we should be reading Sri Aurobindo, but shortage of time, so this is really not the right way to do it. The Divine Mother is one in three ways of being transcendent beyond creation, universal as the cosmic, Mahashakti shaping and sustaining all. And she is individual as the embodied power who brings the divine close to human life. So the third paragraph is talking about the three poises of the Divine Mother: the individual, the cosmic, and the transcendent. Right? The fourth paragraph, again, we'll talk about the essence that the one transcendent mother holds within her eternal consciousness of the Supreme Divine. That's one Supreme Mother, Shakti. She holds within her eternal consciousness the entire Supreme Divine within her, manifesting all worlds, manifesting the powers and beings as expressions of her conscious force. She's holding the divine within her and she's manifesting, manifesting, manifesting all these worlds, all these powers as expressions of her conscious force. You are an expression of her conscious force. You are an expression of her conscious force. We are all expressions of her conscious force, her becoming. She has expanded herself and become us. All creation, all becoming is her play with the Supreme. Nothing exists but by her will and his sanction. He sanctions, wills, and she manifests. So nothing happens without his sanction, without his will. And once he has sanctioned, then she wills it and she manifests it. Right? The next fifth paragraph, the Mahashakti, the Universal Mother. Again, we look at the essence. The Mahashakti, the Universal Mother, She sustains and guides all the worlds as her play. What does she do? She's sustaining this universe and she's guiding us. It's not that she's just become and then she's gone to sleep. She's continuously guiding us. She's continuously whispering inside us because she is inside us, right? She's guiding all the worlds. And how is she guiding the worlds? As her play. It is her play. She has become the world. It's like a child has created a Lego and now it is his play. He has created it. Then he turns around the pieces, puts this piece here, turns it around. So this whole universe is her play, her becoming, and she is guiding this, filling this whole play of hers with her divine delight. She's filling us with her delight and with her force. Whatever force we have within us is because it is her force. And delight, Taittiriya Upanishad talks very clearly that this whole universe is created because of the delight of the divine. Sat Chit Anand. It is his Ananda which has become this universe. And it is his Ananda which is sustaining us. So there, not for a moment does this Ananda leave us. Right? We are living in his Ananda. And nature itself is also just her outer working. And that this nature that we see is expressing what she has seen. I want to become this nature. She saw, she became, she held, she created, she became. But all this in his Ananda. Everything is done in delight. Not for a moment does the delight escape the universe, right? The sixth paragraph, but there are many planes of her creation. So here Sri Aurobindo is saying that the mother holds and governs all planes of her creation. She holds them, sustains them, and she governs them from top and from inside us, from the highest worlds of eternal truth and ananda, and right down to our earth of ignorance, our earth of struggle. She's inside the earth, sustaining us. She's governing it from top. She's sustaining us from below. And all the time, this is all done with absolute love, complete love, pure love, which is emanating from her. Right? Everybody's clear? Seventh paragraph. The mother as the Mahashakti. The mother as Mahashakti, what is she doing? She's bridging the higher worlds of truth and the lower worlds of ignorance. We are in the lower worlds of ignorance. And there are higher worlds of truth. And she's bridging them. She's creating the bridge between the two. She's pouring from there her vision, her power to shape. Why is she pouring her love and her power? So that she can shape the course of evolution so that we can evolve and evolve. And evolution has happened from inconscient to matter, from matter to nature to life and then mind. There were little small insects, beings, higher beings, apes, human being, and now look at us. So all this evolution has happened how? By her who has poured her vision, she's poured her power, and she has shaped the evolution. And it's a very gradual baking. It cannot happen in one day. We wonder sometimes, how does God allow all this? There are so many things that seem so cruel and monstrous, but that's also part of that whole. And that part of the whole is guiding us, and slowly it's all part of the variety that he is. That variety was within him, including the cruelty, including the monstrosity. And that is all allowed by him, because all this has to be transformed. Nothing has to be eradicated. It has all got to be transformed. And she sends forth her powers. She sends forth her emanations to govern us, to guide us, to uplift us. And these powers, these emanations have been worshipped through ages. Even in the caveman, we see images that were drawn by the cavemen of goddesses who they would worship in their time, in their way. And through them, she prepares vibhutis. Through those powers, she prepares vibhutis like Vivekanand and so many others, and human instruments who manifest her rays, who manifest her powers. All those emanations, those vibhutis, manifest her powers, and she prepares the vibhuti. She prepared all the vibhutis that have ever been on earth and who will continue to come. It's not that pehle aaye Swami Vivekanand, ab nahi. Many vibhutis are being prepared by her, and many vibhutis are going to come on earth even later on. All is her cosmic drama, arranged with the gods, with herself as the veiled actor. She has veiled herself. And from behind the veil, she's working. She's working on all of us. But it would be so beautiful if all of us could also try to peek inside the veil. कि माँ मैं तुम्हें देखना चाहती हूँ, माँ मैं तुम्हें देखना चाहता हूँ. I want to be able to see you. I want to be, that's what Vivekanand ji said, right? He didn't even say it, Ma showed it. So if one could see, we all have the same potentialities, right? Now, the 8th paragraph, the mother not only governs all from above. Big paragraph, but the essence is that the mother not only governs creation from above, she doesn't govern only from above. And then earlier I said she governs from above and she is within. Now here Sri Aurobindo is saying that she also descends into the darkness of ignorance. But what she does is she wears a mask. Why does she wear a mask? Because with the mask, she is able to transform it. So she's wearing, that mother is within us. She's wearing a mask so we don't see her, but she is helping to transform us, the universe, the cosmos. And what does she do all this for? This she does out of her boundless love for us. She bears suffering. We keep saying, हमको कितना सफर कराते हैं भगवान वहाँ बैठे. वो वहाँ नहीं बैठे हैं. He is suffering with us. He is going through the difficulty with us. He is entering into death. He is entering into falsehood so that death and falsehood may be transformed into life, into truth, into immortality, into ananda. We'll be talking about this tomorrow when we talk about the story of creation and becoming. And her coming down into ignorance, this is her supreme sacrifice. Supreme sacrifice. It is even called the Holocaust because she has completely transformed herself to come inside us. This is her sacrifice, the complete self-giving of Prakriti, the Divine Mother's self-offering of self for what? For the redemption of the world. कि ये वर्ल्ड ट्रांसफॉर्म हो जाए एंड वापस that it becomes again what it is potentially. For that, she has taken on this Holocaust. She has transformed herself, become opposite of herself, but is within us, helping us. So now we come to that part which Promni ma'am really wanted us to read together. And I apologize to Sri Aurobindo for doing this, that 7-8 paragraphs I have only given the essence. I have no right to give essence because who am I and what do I understand? But this was slide. Now we'll read from the book. Can you find the paragraph? 4 great aspects of the mother. Everybody has it? Now we'll read from the book, and wherever you have questions, you can ask. I'll read it very slowly, but please ask me wherever you feel there is a question. 4 great aspects of the mother, 4 of her leading powers and personalities have stood in front in her guidance of this universe and in her dealings with the terrestrial play. Should I read it again? 4 great aspects of the mother, 4 of her leading powers and personalities have stood in front in her guidance of this universe and in her dealings with the terrestrial, which means earthly, with the worldly play. One is her personality of calm wideness. Calm wideness. She's wide everywhere. And comprehending wisdom. An intelligence, a wisdom that understands everything. Because she is knowledge, Maheshwari. Wisdom. And tranquil benignity. Tranquil benignity means calm kindness. She's kind and she's calm. Calmly, she's able to spread her kindness. And what else does she have? An inexhaustible compassion. She has unlimited empathy and sovereign and surpassing majesty and all ruling greatness. One is a personality of calm wideness and comprehending wisdom and tranquil benignity, calm kindness, and inexhaustible compassion, and sovereign and surpassing majesty and all ruling greatness. This is Maheshwari with her power of wisdom. Another embodies her power of splendid strength and irresistible passion, her warrior mood, her overwhelming will, her impetuous swiftness, and world shaking force. This is Mahakali, with her power of strength. A third is vivid and sweet and wonderful, with a deep secret of beauty and harmony and fine rhythm, her intricate and subtle opulence. She has opulence, but it is intricate, it is subtle. Her compelling attraction and captivating grace. What a description of Mahalakshmi. This is Mahalakshmi with her power of harmony. The fourth is equipped with a close and profound capacity of intimate knowledge. Intimate knowledge means detailed knowledge, deep detailing of knowledge, and careful, flawless work, skill, careful, flawless work, and quiet and exact perfection in all things. This is Mahasaraswati with the power of perfection. Wisdom, strength, harmony, perfection are their several attributes. And it is these powers that they bring with them into the world, manifest in a human disguise in their vibhutis. The vibhutis are actually them, those Mahashaktis, but they are disguised in human form. But they are being guided by her. So, manifest in a human disguise in their vibhutis and shall found in the divine degree of their ascension, of their evolution, their growth, in those who can open their earthly nature to the direct and living influence of the mother. Let us read this sentence, or let us try and understand this sentence. Together they bring to the world, what do they bring? They bring their powers of wisdom, strength, harmony, and perfection. Now, these powers manifest through chosen instruments, chosen by her, who are called vibhutis. And these vibhutis awaken in those of us who are open to these vibhutis, those of us who are open to these shaktis. Through them, the vibhutis put in their power. And that power of the vibhutis, because we are open to them, then that living influence of the mother comes into us, and we also are carved into that personality. But what do we have to do for that? We have to be open and a burning aspiration, because as we've written in the diary, that all these personalities are living gods and goddesses. And if we call out to them and we go on creating, forging a beautiful relationship with them, then that relationship becomes a live relationship. Just like we say friends influence us. What about the influence of the divine? But we have to have time to forge that relationship with the divine, that they let their nature be molded into our personality and we start becoming like them. Because wasn't that what Sri Krishna asked Arjun in the Gita? Mad bhavam agatah, become my nature, Arjun. So that is the aim of human life. And that can only happen when we actually open ourselves to the divine personality, to the divine goddesses, and invite them and invite them and invite them to mold our nature into their nature. Because that power is within us, that not power, but the potentiality is within us to become that. Four great powers of the mother stand foremost in her guidance of the universe and the earthly play. Slide. Now, before we start reading Maheshwari, let us for just 30 seconds invite Maheshwari. Invite Maheshwari into us, that we are able to understand what Maheshwari is, that we are able to aspire and invite Maheshwari into us. Invite wisdom into us. Yeah. Imperial Maheshwari is seated in the wideness above the thinking mind. Sri Aurobindo has told us, and if we get the time to reach that slide, there is this mind, there is higher mind, there is illumined mind, there is intuitive mind, there is over mind, then the lid, and then the super mind. There's so many levels of mind. Vedic rishis have also spoken about the levels of mind in the form of rivers. Ila, Saraswati, Sarma. So, Imperial Maheshwari is seated in the wideness above the thinking mind, above the will, and sublimates. Sublimates means refines and greatens them. Greatens what? Greatens the thinking mind into wisdom, mind into largeness, or floods the thinking mind with a splendor, with a grandeur which is beyond the thinking mind. If we call out to Maheshwari, this is what she does. She can widen our mind. She can greaten our mind with her splendor, with her wideness, and she can flood the mind with wisdom. For she is the mighty and wise one who opens us to the supramental infinities. She can take us to the transcendent and the cosmic vastness. She can make us as vast as the cosmos, to the grandeur of the supreme light, to a treasure house of miraculous knowledge, to the measureless movement of the Mother's eternal forces. She can connect us to all these. Do you want me to read this sentence again? Or should we move forward? Move forward? Tranquil is she and wonderful, great and calm forever. Nothing can move her. Why? Because all wisdom is in her. Nothing is hidden from her that she chooses to know. Nothing is hidden from her that she chooses to know. She comprehends all things and all beings and their nature and what moves them and the law of the world and its times and how all was and is and must be. Clear? Clear, everybody, teachers? A strength is in her that meets everything. A strength is in her that meets everything and masters, and none can prevail in the end against her vast, intangible wisdom and high, tranquil power. You see, with the wisdom, with the power, what is important? Tranquility. And she has that calmness with that power. It is balanced so beautifully. She has that wisdom with calmness, intangible wisdom. Nothing that can be written within books, it is intangible. Equal, patient, and unalterable in her will, she deals with men according to their nature, and with things and happenings according to their force and the truth that is in them. Now, this sentence has been explained further in the next sentence, that she deals with men according to their nature and with things and happenings according to their force and the truth that is inside that happening, inside that circumstance. Partiality she has none, but she follows the decrees. Decrees means the command of the Supreme. And some she raises up. Some people she will raise up according to their nature, according to their aspiration, according to their call. And some she casts down or puts away from her into the darkness. Then nature is not asking for her. If the nature is asking for darkness, she will not force herself. Darkness is what you want, there you go. We will talk to you. It's not like permanent. It is a temporary putting into the darkness till the aspiration rises within the people who are wanting darkness. To the wise, she gives a greater and more luminous wisdom. Those that have vision, she admits to her counsel. Counsel means her direction, her advice. Those who have wisdom, she admits, ki haan, come, I will counsel you, I will advise. What does she do on the hostile? On the hostile, she imposes the consequence of their hostility. You want to be hostile? Fine, you get the consequence of your hostility. But it doesn't happen immediately. We many times say कि कितना गलत कर रहा है, and वो चलता जा रहा है, गलती को कितना force मिल रहा है, strength मिल रहा है, but it is all being seen by her. It will be changed and transformed in its own slow process of baking. On the hostile, she imposes the consequence of their hostility. The ignorant and foolish, she leads according to their blindness. In each man, she answers and handles the different elements of his nature according to their needs and their urge and the return they call for. What kind of pressure does she put on them? She puts on them the required pressure or leaves them to their cherished liberty. By they cherish liberty, okay, you are free. Go down the hell path, go on and on and on, or leaves them to their cherished liberty to prosper in the ways of the ignorance or to perish. Why? For she is above all. For she is above all, bound by nothing, attached to nothing in the universe. Yet has she more than any other the heart of the universal mother. Than anybody else, Maheshwari has a heart of the universal mother. It's full of wideness, compassion, wisdom, calm, tranquil, benign, all loving. For her compassion is endless and inexhaustible. All are to her eyes her children and portions of the one. She sees that each one of them are actually portions of the divine. Even the Asura and Rakshasa and Pisacha and those that are revolted and hostile. Even in them, she sees them as anshas, portions of the divine. If anybody needs to know the difference between Asura, Rakshasa, and Pisacha, whatever little I know, I can go ahead. We can leave that for later on. Let's leave it for now. Even her rejections are only a postponement. Postponement for what? Till they evolve. If they are rejecting, so she will reject them. But her rejections are not permanent, they are postponements. Even her punishments are a grace. How are her punishments a grace? Exactly what I've written. Punishments are a grace because they are helping us to evolve. Our difficult times are the times when we evolve the most. But her compassion does not blind her wisdom or turn her action from the cause decreed. We should not think that she is weak. Because she has compassion, please don't think her to be weak. She is all knowing. So she is not weak. Even her compassion does not blind her wisdom or turn her action from the course that is decreed by the divine. She doesn't move from that course. It is a course decreed by the divine, and she is only the executor. For the truth of things is her one concern. Truth with a capital T. Knowledge, her center of power. And to build our soul and our nature into the divine truth, her mission and her labor. See, her power is knowledge, right? And her work, what is her work that she's been told to do by the divine? Her work is to shape our soul and our nature into the divine truth. And she's focused. This is what I have to do. I have to shape the soul and the nature of each and every individual according to their nature. And that is what she's concerned with. And she's concerned with truth. That truth which is decreed by the divine, which is the truth, which is the reality. Right? And she's very focused. Right? So this is Maheshwari. We can pause for a minute. First, we invite Maheshwari, then we invite Mahakali, and then we enter into Mahakali. Slide. Next slide. Mahakali is of another nature. Not wideness, but height. Not wideness, but height. Not wisdom, but force and strength are her peculiar power. There is in her an overwhelming intensity. What is overwhelming intensity? A sincere enthusiasm, sincere, brimming with sincerity. A mighty passion of force to achieve. Mighty passion of force to achieve. Achieve what? That which is decreed by the divine. A divine violence. There is violence, but it is divine violence. A divine violence rushing to shatter every limit and obstacle. All her divinity leaps out in a splendor of tempestuous action, stormy action. Cut, 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 cut. The action is done. She is there for swiftness, for the immediately effective process. Ab bhi chahiye, now, for the immediately effect process. The rapid and direct stroke, the frontal assault. She doesn't stab from the back. It is a direct attack which is made head on without trying to go around, without using tricks. She is there for swiftness, for the immediately effective process, the rapid and direct stroke, the frontal assault that carries everything before it. Terrible is her face to the Asura, dangerous and ruthless her mood against the haters of the divine. For she is the warrior of the worlds who never shrinks from the battle. Intolerant of imperfection, she deals roughly with all in man that is unwilling, and she's severe to all that is obstinately ignorant and obscure. Her wrath, her anger is immediate and dire, terrible, against treachery and falsehood and malignity. Malignity is spite, hostility, ill will. Ill will is smitten at once. When there is ill will in man, she strikes at it at once by her scourge. Scourge means with a whip and lash. Indifference, negligence, sloth. Sloth is laziness. In the divine work, she cannot bear, and she smites, she strikes, awake at once with sharp pain, if need be, the untimely slumberer and loiterer. If somebody is slumbering in the divine work or loitering around in the divine work, then she will smite right there with a frontal assault with wrath, but which is only for that time. The impulses that are swift and straight and frank, the movements that are unreserved and absolute, the aspiration that mounts in flame are the motion of Mahakali. Her spirit is tameless. You cannot tame her spirit. Her spirit is tameless. Her vision and will are high and far reaching, like the flight of an eagle. That is her aspiration. Her spirit is tameless. Her feet are rapid on the upward way, and her hands are outstretched to strike and to succor. Why? For she too is the mother, and her love is as intense as her wrath, as her anger. And she has a deep and passionate kindness. So even her wrath is full of kindness within. When she is allowed to intervene in her strength, then in one moment are broken like things without consistence. Things that have no consistence, which have no base, which have no spine, they are broken in 1 minute. Then in one moment are broken like things without consistence, the obstacles that immobilize or the enemies that assail, that attack the seeker. If her anger is dreadful to the hostile, and the vehemence of her pressure painful to the weak and timid, she is loved and worshipped by the great, the strong, and the noble. So, those who are weak and timid, they will find her vehemence very, very strong and difficult to bear. But those who are strong and those who have that great power within them and that great wisdom to understand her strength and to understand her wrath, they love her. They worship Mahakali, the strong and the noble. Why? For they feel that her blows beat what is rebellious in their material into strength and perfect truth. Whatever is rebellious in us, we know that her attack, her succor, is going to beat that and change it and transform it into strength and perfect truth. Her anger, her striking will hammer straight what is wry. Wry means that which is mocking, scoffing, and perverse, and expel what is impure or defective. When she attacks, it is only to expel from us whatever is impure, whatever is defective, whatever is imperfect. But for her, what is done in a day might have taken centuries. But for her, what is done in a day might have taken centuries. Without her, Ananda might be wide and grave, or soft and sweet and beautiful. But that Ananda would lose the flaming joy of its absolute intensities. Ananda has within it a potentiality. And that potentiality would get lost if it does not have within it that strength. To knowledge, now those who have knowledge, she gives a conquering might. Those who have wisdom, she gives them force, strength. And those who have harmony and love and unification, the strength of unification, brings to beauty and harmony a high and mounting movement. It gives to them a high movement, a mounting movement, so that it increases the potentiality of Mahalakshmi. Those who are in the path of harmony and unity, she adds her force, so the rapidity of Mahalakshmi increases because of her force. And she imparts to the slow and difficult labor after perfection an impetus. She gives a momentum to those who are on the path of Mahasaraswati, on the path of perfection. She gives them an impetus that multiplies the power and shortens the long way. Because perfection ka path long hota hai, because everything is done with so much skill. So it takes a long time. But Mahakali, she notices that she is on the path of perfection, on the path of Mahasaraswati, and she gives them an impetus so it moves faster forward on the path of perfection. Nothing can satisfy her that falls short of the supreme ecstasies. Anything that falls short of bliss, she's not satisfied. The highest heights, the noblest aims, the largest vistas. Therefore, with her is the victorious force of the divine. And it is by grace of her fire and passion and speed if the great achievement can be done now rather than hereafter. Right? So I think we can, it was clear, right? And these passages, reading them once doesn't do anything. They have to be read again and again and again to invite these forces within us. Huh? So we can again pause for a minute, pause and invite Mahakali and Mahalakshmi. Slide. Now we come to Mahalakshmi. Wisdom and force are not the only manifestations of the Supreme Mother. There is a subtler mystery of her nature, and without it, wisdom or Maheshwari and force, Mahakali, would be incomplete things, and without it, perfection, Mahasaraswati, would not be perfect. Above them is the miracle of the eternal beauty, an unseizable secret of divine harmonies, the compelling magic of an irresistible universal charm and attraction that draws and holds things and forces and beings together, that holds things together in her harmony and obliges them to meet and unite, that a hidden Ananda may play from behind the veil and make of them its rhythms and its figures. Should we read the sentence again? It's a particularly long sentence. See, what they're saying is that without her, wisdom and force and perfection will be incomplete. She is grace, she is sweetness, the magic of divine attraction that makes life into a rhythm of joy. This is the power of Mahalakshmi. And there is no aspect of the divine Shakti more attractive to the heart of embodied beings. She is the most attractive, Mahalakshmi. Maheshwari can appear too calm because of her wide wisdom. She's calm, tranquil, benign. So she may appear too calm and great and distant because we are all little for the littleness of earthly nature to approach or contain Maheshwari. And for us, earthly beings, Mahakali may be too swift and formidable for its weakness to bear. We are too weak to be able to bear the force and the swiftness of Mahakali. But all of us turn with joy and longing to Mahalakshmi. Why? Why are we drawn to Mahalakshmi? Because she throws the spell of the intoxicating sweetness of the divine. She has that spell, that magic of the intoxicating sweetness of the divine. To be close to Mahalakshmi is a profound happiness, and to feel her within the heart is to make existence a rapture and a marvel. Grace and charm and tenderness flow out from her like light from the sun, and wherever she fixes her wonderful gaze or lets fall the loveliness of her smile, the soul is seized. The soul is seized and made captive and plunged into the depths of an unfathomable bliss. The bliss is so deep and so profound. Once we see Mahalakshmi smile, we are pulled into those unfathomable depths of bliss. Magnetic is the touch of her hands, and their occult and delicate influence refines mind and life and body. And where she presses her feet, course miraculous streams of an entrancing ananda. Where the feet of Mahalakshmi come upon us, there through her feet course flow miraculous streams of entrancing ananda. And yet, it is not easy to meet the demand of this enchanting power or to keep her presence, because to keep her presence, to keep the presence of Mahalakshmi, we have to build in harmony in the very warp and weft of our being. Harmony has to be within ourselves, within all the physical and the vital, the physical and the mental, the vital and the mental, and all of them have to be connected to the soul. That kind of harmony has to be within us to be able to invite her down into us. Harmony and beauty of the mind and soul. Harmony and beauty of the thoughts and feelings. Harmony and beauty in every outward act. Every act, there has to be harmony and beauty. Harmony and beauty in every outward act and movement. Harmony and beauty of the life and its surroundings. Harmony and beauty in every circumstance of our life. This is the demand of Mahalakshmi. Where there is affinity to the rhythms of the secret world bliss. Should we understand rhythms first? What is rhythm? You've heard the word Rita. Rita can also be substituted for dharma. Rhythm. See, every planet has a dharma, that it has a certain axis, and the planet follows its dharma perfectly. The moon follows its dharma. Every animal follows his dharma. It is the dharma of the tiger to chase the deer and eat it. He does it. He is not doing anything that is evil because he has been made in that dharma. It is only man, when the mind came into man, that we left our dharma. We forgot our dharma. We are not interested in our dharma. Or if we are interested, we are interested so far as it is good for us. So that is the problem. That rhythm that we have been born with, we have to be able to follow that rhythm which is our swadharma, right? That is rita, that is rhythm, that is dharma. Even our bodies inside us, our digestive system, our circulatory system, every system follows its dharma until we mess with it with our lifestyles. Everything is following its dharma. It is this mind which has to be taught to follow its own right dharma, rita, right. Where there is affinity to the rhythms of the secret world bliss and response to the call of the all beautiful and concord and unity and the glad flow of many lives all turned towards the divine, in that atmosphere she consents to abide. In that atmosphere, she will come, she will abide, and she will spread her opulence. But all that is ugly and mean and base, all that is poor, poverty has to be understood. Poverty is never of the financial status. Poverty is a state of mind. One may have enough and not be able to part with a penny. That, that person can be called poor. So poverty here, that Sri Aurobindo is talking about, is not of our bank balance. It is a poverty of the mind. All that is ugly and mean and base, all that is poor and sordid and squalid. Squalid means that which is grimy, filthy. All that is brutal, savage, cruel, all that is coarse, crude, repels her advent. She refuses to abide there. She refuses to enter there. Where love and beauty are not or are reluctant to be born, she does not come. Where they are mixed and disfigured with baser things, she turns soon to depart. Even if she is there, if we become base, crude, then she departs from there or cares little to pour her riches. And what are her riches? Her riches are harmony. Her riches are love. Her riches are unity. That we feel a sense of unity with people. That is the richness given by Mahalakshmi. That we feel love flowing from us to all. That is the richness that Mahalakshmi gives to us. And that is the Mahalakshmi we should pray on Diwali. That we should pray for her love, her unity, her harmony in our life. Because that is the true richness. If she finds herself in men's hearts, surrounded with selfishness and hatred and jealousy and malignance. Malignance means malice, hatred, spite, hostility. And if she finds herself in men's hearts, surrounded with selfishness and hatred and jealousy and malignance and envy and strife, conflict, friction, if she finds treachery and greed and ingratitude are mixed in the sacred chalice, chalice is the vessel, this vessel, if grossness of passion and unrefined desire degrade devotion in such hearts, the gracious and beautiful goddess will not linger. She will not stay any longer in such hearts. A divine disgust seizes upon her and she withdraws. For she is not one who insists, she will not insist on us कि भाई बदल जाओ यार, change कर लो अपने आप को, मैं जा रही हूँ यहाँ से. She will just leave. A divine disgust seizes upon her and she withdraws. For she is not one who insists or strives, attempts to change, or veiling her face, she waits for this bitter and poisonous devil's stuff to be rejected. She will not wait for this poison to disappear and disappear before she will found anew her happy influence. No, she will just leave. Ascetic bareness. Asceticism is not her taste. She is not asking us to fast and be hungry and spoil our bodies with that, and I will live in less, I will not switch on the air condition if I can afford it. No, she's not looking for asceticism. Asceticism, ascetic bareness, and harshness are not pleasing to her, nor the suppression of the heart's deeper emotions. Now, this should not be misunderstood, because this doesn't mean that if my heart is asking for something that is wrong, and Sri Aurobindo has said, no, 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 don't suppress your heart's emotion, so go all out. No, it does not mean that. Ascetic bareness and harshness are not pleasing to her, nor the suppression of heart's deeper emotions and the rigid repression of the soul's and life's parts of beauty. This is not pleasing to her. For it is through love and beauty that she lays on men the yoke of the divine. It is through love and beauty that she lays the yoke of the divine. Life is turned in her supreme creations into a rich work of celestial means heavenly, art, and all existence into a poem of sacred delight. The world's riches are brought together and concerted. Concerted means they are united for a supreme order. And even the simplest and commonest things are made wonderful by her intuition of unity and the breadth of her spirit, so wide. Admitted to the heart, she lifts wisdom. So what they're saying is, all those who are living and acting in wisdom, Maheshwari, Mahalakshmi lifts them. Admitted to the heart, she lifts wisdom to pinnacles of wonder and reveals to it the mystic secrets of the ecstasy that surpasses all knowledge, meets devotion with the passionate attraction of the divine. Teaches to strength. Now, what about those who are on the path of Mahakali? Teaches to strength and force the rhythm that keeps the might of their acts harmonious. Because they are in the path of power and strength. So she adds harmony into their strength and in measure and casts on perfection the charm that makes it endure forever. Those who are on the path of perfection, Mahasaraswati, she adds the charm that makes the perfection last forever. Right? Clear? Not so difficult, no? Nobody's sleepy here, I hope. Okay. So, should we just, for a minute, connect with Mahalakshmi and connect with Mahasaraswati in slide. Mahasaraswati. Mahasaraswati is the mother's power of work and her spirit of perfection and order. The youngest of the four, she is the most skillful in executive faculty, in decision making, and nearest to physical nature. So she's most easily approachable because she's nearest to physical nature. Maheshwari, with her wisdom and largeness, lays down the large lines of the world forces. Because Maheshwari is wisdom, she's vast. She lays down the large lines of the world forces. Ki aise, broadly these will be the world forces. Mahakali, with her strength and force, drives their energy and impetus, push, stimulus. Mahalakshmi, with her power of unification, love, and harmony, discovers their rhythms, discovers their dharmas and measures. But what does Mahasaraswati do? But Mahasaraswati presides over their detail of organization and execution, relation of parts, an effective combination of forces, an unfailing exactitude of result and fulfillment of result. Ma Saraswati actually oversees the careful organization and the execution of work. She adds to the harmony of different parts and the right use of forces and the perfect accuracy that gives that true fulfillment. The science and craft and technique of things are Mahasaraswati's province. Mahasaraswati's province contains what? Science and craft, chosen the intimate and precise knowledge. जिनको उन्होंने choose कर लिया है, she will give that intimate knowledge and the precise knowledge, the subtlety and patience, the accuracy of intuitive mind and conscious hand, and discerning eye of the perfect worker. These are boons given by Mahasaraswati. If anybody has it, there is no ego for it because the mother has given, she can take them away when she wants. We have to become legitimate receivers of these boons, right? This power is the strong, the tireless, the careful, and efficient builder, organizer, administrator, technician, artisan, and classifier of the worlds. When she takes up the transformation, when she takes up the transformation and new building of the nature, her action is laborious and minute, and often seems to our impatience slow and interminable. कि तो खत्म ही नहीं होता है. But it is persistent, it is integral and flawless. For the will in her works is scrupulous, unsleeping, indefatigable, unflagging, absolutely unrelenting. It will go on and 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 on. Leaning over us, she notes and touches every little detail, finds out every minute defect, gap, twist, or incompleteness, considers and weighs accurately all that has been done and all that remains still to be done hereafter. She will correct and correct and recorrect and recorrect because perfection is what she seeks. Nothing is too small or apparently trivial for her attention. Nothing is trivial कि ये तो मैं नहीं करती हूँ. Nothing is trivial for her attention. Nothing, however impalpable, even if it is impalpable, intangible for us, or disguised or latent, nothing can escape her eyes. Can't. Molding and remolding, she labors each part till it has attained its true form, is put in its exact place in the whole, and fulfills its precise purpose. In a constant and diligent arrangement and rearrangement of things, her eye is on all needs at once. At once, she can see everything, right? And the way to meet them, her eyes are all the things at once, and she knows the way to meet all of them. And her intuition knows what is to be chosen and what rejected, and successfully determines the right instrument, the right time, the right conditions, and the right process. Carelessness and negligence and indolence she abhors, she hates. All scammed and hasty and shuffling work, all clumsiness, and up you pray. Up you pray means just about. I've done it just about. Done it, but just about. She doesn't like it. What just about? You've done it, do it to the minutest detail in perfect perfection, or don't do it. Carelessness and negligence and indolence she abhors. All scamped and hasty and shuffling work, all clumsiness and upward prey and misfire, all false adaptation and misuse of instruments and faculties, and leaving of things undone or half done is offensive and foreign to her temper. When her work is finished, nothing has been forgotten. No part has been misplaced or omitted or left in a faulty condition. All is solid, accurate, complete, admirable. Nothing short of a perfect perfection satisfies her. And she is ready to face an eternity of toil. She's ready to face eternity of toil. Till the end of time, she's ready to toil, labor over it, if that is needed for the fullness of her creation. Therefore, of all the mother's powers, she is the most long suffering with man and his thousand imperfections. We are full of so many imperfections, and she is ready to toil with us. Inside us, she's toiling with us to bring us to perfection. Kind, smiling, close and helpful, not easily turned away or discouraged, insistent even after repeated failure. Her hand sustains our every step on condition that we are single in our will and straightforward and sincere. What is she asking us for? Singularity of purpose. Have a singular purpose. Be straightforward and be sincere. Sincerity is perhaps the most important quality that we should aim for. All other qualities will come by if we are sincere. For a double mind, she will not tolerate. And her revealing irony is merciless to drama and histrionics and self deceit and pretense. You know, people who go through the histrionics, Arey, my life is so full of difficulties. You don't know what I'm facing. Histrionics. What is the need for this? She doesn't tolerate histrionics and self deceit and pretense. A mother to our wants, a friend in our difficulties, a persistent and tranquil counselor. She's a peaceful advisor, if we call her, and mentor, chasing away with her radiant smile the clouds of gloom and fretfulness. Fretfulness means agitation, restlessness, and depression, reminding always of the ever present help, pointing to the eternal sunshine. She is firm, quiet, and persevering in the deep and continuous urge that drives us towards the integrality, the unity of the higher nature. Because, after all, wisdom, strength, harmony, and perfection are all united within us. All the work of the other powers, Maheshwari, Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, leans on her for its completeness. All the three other forces, they lean on Mahasaraswati for completion of their work, because the completion is the completion with perfection, which we can get only from Mahasaraswati. For she assures the material foundation, elaborates the stuff of detail, and erects and rivets. Rivets means fastens, fixes the armor of the structure. See, at present, in our physical nature, what are we noticing? That Mahasaraswati is the presiding deity nowadays. in this present Kal time, because you are seeing rapid evolution in the field of nanotechnology, industry, medicine, IT, industrial growth, so many others. Everywhere we are seeing such minute detailing and such rapid evolution in. See, it seems as if it's a work of Mahasaraswati that is helping this to happen. And at the same time, we feel as if Mahalakshmi probably is dormant, because at the same time, we are seeing so much disharmony in the world, so much disharmony, so much falsehood, so much evil at the same time. So we feel as if, I mean, I've not heard anybody else say that, so we are just discussing, Ji and I, that Mahalakshmi seems to be dormant at this time, but at the same time, evolution on the physical level is happening at a fast pace. So it seems that the presiding deity today is Mahasaraswati. So we'll just again pause for a moment. How much time do we have? So then let me see how much is left. We can read a little bit after this and then probably leave it. There are a few paragraphs left. If you would like, we could complete it, or else, as you all say, 15, 20 minutes? 5 o'clock, 5:10. Okay. So let us just a moment, let us turn to all the four powers, invite them within us. We'll read further. There are other great personalities of the Divine Mother, but they were more difficult to bring down. These four have already come down, but the other great personalities of the Mother, they were more difficult to bring down and have not stood out in front with so much prominence in the evolution of the earth spirit. There are among them presences indispensable for the supramental realization. We'll just show you the different levels of consciousness. Most of all, one who is her personality of that mysterious and powerful ecstasy, Ananda. That's also her personality, Ananda, which flows from a supreme divine love, the Ananda that alone can heal the gulf between the highest heights of the supramental spirit and the lowest abysses of matter, the Anand that holds the key of a wonderful divinest life, and even now supports from its secrecies the work of all the other powers of the universe. So that Ananda has still not come down. Slide. See, there are many planes of consciousness. If you look from the bottom on the right, there is matter, which we are all aware of. There is life within us, life in plants, life in animals. There is mind. And after mind, there are many levels of mind which you see on the left hand side: mind, higher mind, illumined mind, intuitive mind, overmind. And then there is a lid. And beyond the lid is a supermind, or you can call it the Vijnan plane, right? Above that is Ananda, and then Chit, and then Sat. So Sattva here is very, very high, nowhere near us. Even Ananda has still not come down. Abhi, we are still at the mind plane. Look where we are. So much work is left to be done, right? But we'll read ahead. But human nature, bounded, egoistic, and obscure, is inapt to receive these great presences or to support their mighty action. Only when the four, Maheshwari, Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswati, have founded their harmony and freedom of movement in the transformed mind and life and body, only when they have founded themselves in us can those other rarer powers manifest in the earth movement, and then supramental action will become possible. And this cannot, if anybody thinks कि अरे मैं तो उसको कर लूंगा अकेले, Sri Aurobindo said it doesn't work. It will only work when the collective has risen. He said everybody who has risen to a certain level cannot rise higher than that till he brings up with him a collectivity of people to that level. And then if somebody has risen to a higher level, until he brings a collectivity with him to that level, he cannot rise higher. This is the rhythm. This is the rhythm, the dharma of evolution, right? So this cannot happen till a whole collectivity has founded Maheshwari, Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswati within themselves. Whole collectivity has to do that. For when her personalities are all gathered in her and manifested, and their separate working has been turned into a harmonious unity, and they rise to her, to their supramental Godheads, then is the mother revealed as the supramental Mahashakti. When we will rise to that level, then Mahashakti will be revealed as the supramental Mahashakti, and she will bring and brings pouring down her luminous transcendences from the ineffable, indescribable ether. From her indescribable atmosphere, she will bring it down. Then can human nature change into dynamic divine nature, because all the elemental lines of the supramental truth consciousness and truth force are strung together, and the harp of life is fitted for the rhythms of the eternal. Some beautiful English. Yeah. What he's saying basically is human nature is narrow and ego bound, and it cannot yet bear that action. Only when the four powers, wisdom, strength, harmony, and perfection, are firmly established in us, firmly established, only then, when it has happened in a collectivity, will the higher forces descend and the supramental creation will start beginning to be formed here. When all these four powers, Shaktis, unite and grow within us. If you desire this transformation, what do we have to do? If we desire this transformation, this is very important from here onwards till the end. Put yourself in the hands of the mother. Put yourself in the hands of the mother and her powers without cavil. Cavil means without any complaint, without any objection. Just surrender yourself in her feet, in her hands, without cavil or resistance, and let her do unhindered her work within you. Three things you must have. Three things. Now we must note these down. I didn't have the time, I couldn't make the PPT for this, but it should have been made. Three things we must have: consciousness, plasticity. Plasticity means we should be easily molded, and unreserved surrender. Consciousness, plasticity, unreserved surrender. Now, what has he said on consciousness? For you must be conscious. For you must be conscious in your mind and soul and heart and life and the very cells of your body. You have to be conscious to that limit that you're aware of every cell of your body. For you must be conscious in your mind and soul and heart and life and the very cells of your body, aware of the mother and her powers and their working. For although she can and does work in you, even in your obscurity, even when we are living in obscure mind, unconsciously we are living, even then she is working. And she is working in your unconscious parts and in your unconscious moments. It is not the same thing as when you are in an awakened and living communion with her. Communion is a word you use between you and God. Communication is what we have with each other, but communion is that which you have with God. I would like to tell you about somebody who I know whose parents both were in living communion, and it is Abhi. In the last 7, 8 years, they have left the body. Her parents both were in communion, in living communion. The mother was in living communion with Banke Bihari. All the time she was communion, she was talking to Banke Bihari, and she must be listening to him. And when she left her body, it was very painful for the children because she was a really beautiful soul. And the next morning, the sun is coming over there, smiling ear to ear. And everybody's asking, why are you smiling? He says, in my dream, Banke Bihari came and he was holding a little baby in his hands. She's already reached him. She was all the time communicating with Banke Bihari. And then her father was always in communion, always talking to Bhole Baba, all the time. And the children would think he's crazy. Because if we would do that, our children would say the same thing. But he was always talking to Bhole Baba. And one day, he has 3, 4, 5 children, but only to this friend of mine, he told of Bhole Baba coming to him at night. And he said, you know what? He came in my dream and he said, chalo, time आ गया. तो मैंने बोला, मैंने बोला कि अभी मैं नहीं जा सकता, अभी मेरे ग्रैंड चाइल्ड की शादी है, घर का एटमॉस्फेयर खराब हो जाएगा, घर का माहौल खराब हो जाएगा, अभी मैं नहीं जा सकता. भोले बाबा asked him, and this I'm talking of my friend whose father told her this, so there cannot be anything, not like a hearsay. So when he told Bhole Baba 6 महीने का टाइम चाहिए, नहीं, he said कितना टाइम चाहिए? He said 6 महीने. And Bhole Baba said ठीक है 6 महीने. He told his daughter that. And she says that date to date, 6th month, he silently passed away. And in those 6 months, चाहे शादी का काम हो, चाहे ब्याह का काम हो, चाहे कुछ हो, every day he said भोले बाबा के लिए भंडारा करो, भोले बाबा, because for him, he is not feeding humans, he is feeding Bhole Baba. So communion with God and connectivity with God and conversation with God is possible. Talk to Kalima all the time. He was an avatar. I'm talking of simple people. Today's time. So, on consciousness, we have spoken. Mane Mother Sri Aurobindo has said that it is not the same thing as when you are, she is still working in you, even if you are living in an unconscious state. But he says it is not the same thing as when you are in an awakened and living communion with her. Now, what does Sri Aurobindo say about plasticity, about being able to be molded? All your nature must be plastic to her touch, not questioning, as the self-sufficient, ignorant mind questions. That self-sufficient mind, nah, I know everything. and that questions and doubts and disputes and is the enemy of enlightenment and change, not insisting on its own movements, as the vital in man insists and persistently opposes its refractory, its stubborn desires and ill will to every divine influence, not obstructing and entrenched in incapacity. मेरे तो बस का ही नहीं है, मैं तो कर ही नहीं, मैं तो थक जाती हूँ. Inertia and tamas, as man's physical consciousness obstructs and clinging to its pleasures in smallness and darkness, cries out against each touch that disturbs its dull sloth, its soulless routine, or its dull sloth, or its torpid slumber. So we have three natures in us: mental, vital, and physical. And all the three consciously we have to open to her touch. Our mind should stop its questioning, its argument, because the ignorant mind is arguing all the time, which doubts anything and everything and becomes an enemy to its own growth and change. And the mind doesn't want any change, it's very happy in the way it is. Our vital is very stubborn, it's used to a certain way of life, doesn't want any change in it, and it resists every divine influence. And what about our physical body? See, mental has the problem of sattva, it's sattvic. So it wants to remain as it is. Vital has a problem of rajas, my desires, my ichhas, all that, and I don't want to let go of any of my desires. And I'm putting it very, very simply. And the physical is used to laziness, sloth, right? So physical body is trapped in incapacity, laziness, darkness. Kaun padhega? Why should I sit down for 3 hours and read the mother? What good is it going to do to me? I'm fine now the way I am. That's the physical part of our mind that says lazy, darkness. It must not, the physical must not cling to small pleasures, must not resist change, because the physical has a habit of crying out against anything that disturbs its routine or its sleepy slumber, right? A vital may say, अब ये ठीक है, this much I take every evening. It's okay, I've always done it. Vital doesn't want change. I like it. I like to smoke. I will not give it up because I'm also tired. I'm also alone. I also need that little bit of. But the vital knows that it has to change, but it will not change. Not allow the mother to bring about that change. But that vital which is conscious will say, no, this has to be given up. And the mother will help me to give it up. But only that vital which is open to change. Right? So we've talked about consciousness and we've talked about plasticity. Now, what does Sri Aurobindo speak on? Surrender. The unreserved surrender of your inner and outer being will bring this plasticity into all parts of your nature. अब ये surrender क्या है? ये surrender है कि I am giving myself to you, mother. And this will bring about the plasticity. अभी तो plasticity नहीं है ना, हम नहीं change करना चाहते हैं. But अगर हम surrender करेंगे, तो ये plasticity भी आ जाएगी. If you seek this transformation, give yourself entirely to the mother and her powers without any doubt, without any resistance, and the plasticity will come. That plasticity that you can mold me, mother, I'm ready to be molded. Consciousness will awaken everywhere in you by constant openness to the wisdom and light of Maheshwari, the force of Mahakali, the harmony and beauty of Maheshwari, of Mahalakshmi, the perfection that come flowing down from above, from Mahasaraswati. Even the body, even the cells of the body will awake and unite at last its consciousness subliminal. Subliminal means that which is concealed, because there is consciousness in every cell. The nucleus of every cell is God Himself. That nucleus is God. So there is consciousness in the nucleus of every cell. even the body will awake and unite at last, its consciousness subliminal, no longer to the supramental superconscious force. Feel all her powers permeating. Even the body cells will feel the powers infusing into us from above and from below and around and thrill to a supreme love and ananda. Through surrender, through openness, through trust, through consciousness, we can awaken everywhere, even in the body, we can feel the divine mother's power. And we can fill ourselves with love, light, power, and ananda. Three things are needed: consciousness, next, third, surrender. So we just need to make our nature become flexible to her touch. But be on your guard and do not try to understand and judge the Divine Mother by your little earthly mind that loves to subject even the things that are beyond it to its own norms and standards. I have some norms and standards, and I want the divine to fit into my norms and standards. How ridiculous can that be? We want it to fit into its narrow reasonings and erring impressions, its bottomless aggressive ignorance, and its petty self confident, I would call it overconfident, knowledge. That's what we want the divine to fit into. Now, how can you fit in so much in such a small vessel? The human mind, shut in the prison of its half lit obscurity, cannot follow the many sided freedom of the steps of the divine Shakti. So, we should not judge the Divine Mother. The rapidity and complexity of her vision and action outrun its stumbling comprehension. What do we understand? We are stumbling in our understanding. The measures of her movement are not its measures. We cannot measure her movements. Bewildered by the swift alternation of her many different personalities, because she is changing her personalities. We are seeing something and then we are seeing something. Her making of rhythms and her breaking of rhythms. आज ये धर्म है, कल वो धर्म है. The rhythms are also changing. Her accelerations of speed and her retardations. Sometimes there is an acceleration of her speed. Sometimes she retards her speed. Her varied ways of dealing with the problem of one and of another. किसी के problem में she's helping, किसी के problem में she's letting him down. She knows what she's doing. Her taking up and dropping now of this line and now of that one, and a gathering of them together. So she does it in her way. She knows her ways. We are not so wise yet to understand her ways, but we can live in consciousness, plasticity, and surrender to her movements. Our human mind will not recognize the way of the Supreme Power when it is circling and sweeping upwards through the maze of the ignorance to a supernal light. See, in this constant movement, the human mind may fail to recognize the working of the Supreme Power. We cannot recognize the working of the Supreme Power. But in truth, she's circling and she's sweeping upstairs, I'm saying upwards, towards a maze, through the maze of ignorance that we are, and leading all of us towards a higher light. Open rather your soul to her and be content to feel her with the psychic nature and see her with the psychic vision that alone make a straight response to the truth. So we have to open our soul to her, right? We've heard the word psychic many times. We try to understand her from the mind, we cannot. Many people say, why I cannot? I can only believe in her if I see her. But how can you see the invisible with eyes which can only see vision? We can see her with the soul. Because the soul has eyes which can see the invisible, which can hear the unheard, which can feel the impalpable. That can all be done with the soul. And for that, we have to be able to create a beautiful connectivity with the soul. And for that, we have to remember, we have to offer, remember the divine, offer to the divine whatever you are doing, and invite the divine in whatever you're doing, even in the smallest of work, like drinking a glass of water, or changing your clothes, or going to bed, or waking up. Every moment, then the connection becomes like a hotline. And then we are able to see divine, because the soul can see the divine. We have to be sthita here in our soul, right? Then the mother herself will enlighten by their psychic elements your mind and heart and life and physical consciousness, and reveal to them too her ways and her nature. Avoid also the error of the ignorant mind's demand on the divine power to act always according to our crude surface notions of omniscience and omnipotence. What does it mean? Don't make the mistake of expecting the divine power to always act according to our shallow ideas of द ऑल नोइंग. हमारा शैलो आइडिया ये आपको उसी के हिसाब से करना चाहिए, नहीं किया तो what is God's way? God knows what he is doing. For our mind clamors to be impressed at every turn by miraculous power and easy success and dazzling splendor. Otherwise, it can't believe that here is the divine. What does our mind want? Our mind wants to be impressed with miracles. Oh, वो बाबा जी ने ऐसे दिखा दिया, वाह, वो बाबा जी ग्रेट हो गए. Do not be impressed with miracles, quick success, dazzling displays. उन्होंने ऐसे किया और गोल्ड की घड़ी मिल गई मुझे. What did you get? Did you really get something? Otherwise, if it doesn't get all that, then it doubts that the divine is present. The mother is dealing with the ignorance in the fields of the ignorance. She has descended there, and she's not only above, as we said, that they are in all the three poises, individual and transcendent. She's there in all the three equally all the time. Partly she veils, and partly she unveils her knowledge and her power. Often holds them back from her instruments and personalities, and follows that she may transform them. Her only aim is to help us transform. So sometimes she shows her power, sometimes she pulls back her power. She knows what is the best way to help us transform. But she will help us transform only if we aspire to transform, and transform consciously. Often holds them back from her instruments and personalities, and follows that she may transform them the way of the seeking mind. What all does she have to transform? The way of the seeking mind, the way of the aspiring psychic, the way of the battling vital, the way of the imprisoned and suffering physical nature. All four need to be transformed. There are conditions that have been laid down by a supreme will. There are many tangled knots that have to be loosened and cannot be cut abruptly asunder. See, the supreme will has some set certain conditions, and there are many tangled knots that have to be patiently loosened. We all have knots within us. They can't be opened at one go. They have to be patiently loosened. They cannot be cut apart suddenly. But we must first accept that our individual being has unique weaknesses. We must accept that we have weaknesses, and we must aspire that we transform them. The time to kill the asura is gone, the mother said to Durga. The mother said to Durga ji that the time to kill the asura is gone. This is the time to transform him within us. The asura and rakshasa hold this evolving earthly nature and have to be met and conquered on their own terms, in their own long conquered fief and province. See, the Asura and Rakshasa are also within us, and they have to be conquered on their own terms within us. The human in us has to be led and prepared to transcend its limits. हमारी जो weaknesses हैं, we must recognize our weaknesses and we must be ready to transcend those weaknesses, prepared to transcend its limit, and is too weak and obscure to be lifted up suddenly to a form beyond it. All of a sudden, this will not happen. Gradually, when we accept that I have this weakness, I need to transform it, we call the mother and we say, I want to transform it, give me strength to transform it. But first, we have to accept that I have that weakness. Secondly, we should have a conscious aspiration and a burning aspiration, isko to transform karna hi hai. And then when we turn to the mother with extreme plasticity and with surrender, then she will help us to transform it. The divine consciousness and force are there and do at each moment the thing that is needed in the conditions of the labor. Take always the step that is decreed and shape in the midst of imperfection the perfection that is to come. So the divine consciousness and force want to shape, are ready to shape. In the midst of our imperfection, they're ready to shape perfection into us. They take the divine consciousness and force, they take the step that is destined and shape perfection out of imperfection, preparing what is to come. But only when the supermind has descended in you can she deal directly as the supramental Shakti with supramental natures. But the real transformation will happen when the supermind descends, which will take time. We have to do our work now in the present nature as we are. If you follow your mind, how much is left? If you follow your mind, it will not recognize the mother even when she is manifest before you. Samne hongi mother, but it will not recognize. Follow your soul and not your mind. Your soul that answers to the truth, not your mind that leaps at appearances. Trust the divine power, and she will free the godlike elements in you. All the gods are within us, all the devatas, the gods, the powers, the personalities are within us, waiting to be called, and they will grow within us. All the Maheshwari, Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswati are all within us. All we have to do is call, 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 and she will free the godlike elements in you and shape all into an expression of divine nature. And what had Sri Krishna asked Arjun? Slide. See, Sri Krishna had said in the Bhagavad Gita, Mad bhavam agata savyasachin. Become my-minded, my-natured, O Arjun. That is the purpose of our life. The supramental change is a thing decreed. It has to happen, it will happen. And inevitable in the evolution of the earth consciousness. It has to happen. For its upward ascent is not ended, and mind is not its last summit. And that's what our first wall says. Man is a transitional being. He is not final. It is decreed that the supramental will descend, but that the change may arrive, take form, and endure. What is needed? There is needed the call from below, with a will to recognize and not deny the light when it comes. And there is needed the sanction of the Supreme from above. It is the conjunction of the two where the transformation will happen. The call from below and the answer from above. The power that mediates between the sanction and the call is the presence and power of the Divine Mother. The call from below, the answer from above, there has to be a mediation between the two. And that mediator is Shakti, is Maheshwari, Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswati. She will mediate and the call will come down, the answer will come down, the grace will come down. Slide. A sincere call from below is answered by the light from above only when the Divine Mother mediates. The Mother's power and not any human endeavor and tapasya can alone rend the lid and tear the covering and shape the vessel and bring down into this world of obscurity and falsehood and death and suffering. What will it bring down? Truth and light and life divine and the immortal's Ananda. Slide. Thank you, O Divine Mother. Let us all give ourselves 2 minutes of silence so we don't lose what we've read today. I know there's no more time for questions, but if there is any pressing question, one or two, we can take that up if there are. Although we've read from the book, so I don't think there should be. Okay? We can end the session, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for the patient hearing of something so difficult. Was it really difficult?
But today was the day when I found it very interesting. I'm saying I because I'm speaking on behalf of myself only. Your insights, your perspective, they brought life into it. And one more thing I learned today, how to be a good teacher, how beautifully you were engaging everybody and the way you were feeling, and then, you know, communicating, and the way all of us were connected with you. It is not that easy. Reading Sri Aurobindo, understanding him, and then connecting with him in such an easy manner. I never found it this smooth, this easy. Only this much I wanted to say.
Only the divine does everything. We don't do
And
anything.
every word that was coming out of your mouth, it was it was falling like a dewdrop on a petal.
How
So
beautiful. Thank you.
beautifully it was. I mean, I had an amazing experience.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you
ma'am.
so much. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.